Notifying the Discord. Making sure audio mixer is correct. Check 1, 2. Mic check. Notifying the Discord. Discord notified. Closing unneeded tabs to save energy and power. Rerouting all power to forward guns and thrusters. Equipping gauntlet. And in the immortal words of Technoblade, starting the stream. Greetings, adventurers. It is I, Jeb the Boxsmith. Welcome to the stream. Today we are making a little thing called Nanami's Cleaver from Jujutsu Kaisen. JJK is back with the new season, and because of that, I wanted to make some JJK stuff this month. Last week, if you remember, we made the Inverted Spear of Heaven, weapon famously used by Toji among other characters, but primarily Toji, and that was a fun time. And today, I've cooked up this little template here that's going to allow us to make Nanami's Cleaver. So that's going to be fun. Now, without further ado, let us begin. I've got some nice cardboard here, and in typical fashion, last time we tried out this little doohickey. This is a Württemberg pinwheel. It's a medical device, but we found last stream that it's very great for making cardboard art, especially when using templates. So we're going to be using that again, just to make things go more efficient. Ideally, what this tool allows and represents is that we may or may not found a way to allow people to circumvent the need to get good at using knives when boxsmithing. In theory, all you may need to boxsmith is one of these doohickeys, a chomp saw, and maybe a pair of scissors if you need it. But basically the point I'm trying to make is we may have figured out a way that as long as you have enough money, you may never need to risk cutting yourself while working on cardboard art ever again. Of course, I'm a firm believer in the classic money doesn't replace skill, but money can make things more efficient, so if you have the coin to be able to do that, it may or may not be worth the investment and stuff. But, that all said, we're going to go ahead and get started with this build today. First and foremost, we're going to go and chop this cardboard a bit down to size. We have about half of a standard issue box here before me, and we're just going to take it by this portion over here and just do that. So now we have 2 decent sheets of cardboard right here that we're going to use for today's build. So, we've got this right here. Now we can get started. That's, of course, the cover image. The template will, of course, be available for all of you to download for free within about a week or so. This is more or less a test drive of the template. If it's good and everything works perfectly fine here as we're making it today, then it'll be available for all of you a lot sooner. For updates on that and anything else, make sure that you join the Discord server, the link to which is in the bio of this channel. Now, that being the case, Remington asks, did you not die? My death was greatly exaggerated. No, I was spared by Michael Reeves when I fought him that one time. But that's the story for another day. Today we are working on the GOAT Nanami's Cleaver. Mr. 9 to 5, Mr. Put It On. Shout out, shout out Rab So Petty, just JJK series. So, because we are using the Württemberg tool, because we're using the Württemberg tool, or as I like to call it, the whirligig saw because it looks like the weapon of the same name from the hit video game Bloodborne. What was I talking about again? Right. The whirligig saw. It's allowing us so that we can do cardboard stuff better. I'm much better at showing things than telling things, so I'm just going to demonstrate for you how it works and stuff. Just going to take these scissors just so we can chop these pieces a bit smaller to size, so we have more raw space to work with on the cardboard. It's always nice to use a nice sharp pair of scissors because it cuts through the cardboard significantly easier. Yeah. We are 2 streams in about 2 weeks into the new year. How is it going for everyone? I hope you're all doing well on this fine Tuesday evening. At least it's Tuesday evening for me in my corner of the world. The new season of JJK is back, and as a longtime fan of it, I've been following it since the manga was still going on. I am very excited. I've seen the clips primarily on Twitter. It's always fun to me whenever a property is adapted into animation versus the manga or comic book that it comes from. It's always fun to me whenever they just add fun stuff that's exclusive to the medium that it's adapted into. Like the scene where Naruto, whatever his name is, the blonde little prick from the Zenin clan, the part when he fights Chozo and does that thing with the hair because he knows the ladies are watching. That was not in the manga. That was exclusive to the anime, and it's just fun little things like that. Before the stream started, I was rewatching the Mark versus Conquest fight from Invincible, and I'm not sure how many of y'all have ever read the comics for Invincible, but the fight was not only an insanely faithful adaptation, just being what it was, but the whole "I am so lonely" speech that Conquest does, that was interesting because that was not in the comic. That felt, when I was watching that for the first time, it was as if it was watching actors or the characters. It was as if they were following a script or going down the checklist of the things that I expected to see in the fight scene. The thing with Oliver, the thing where he said what he said, the thing where all that kind of stuff, all expected. Thing when Eve joins the fight, all things that you expected to see. But when he puts Mark in that choke slam, and then he hits the "I am so lonely," that was not part of the script. That was Conquest going off the script. That was kind of terrifying, but in a cool way. Where was I there? See, we'll just put that right there. And yeah, the point I'm trying to make is it's really cool when adapted mediums do things like that, and they. That looks about correct. Yeah. Cool stuff. Hey, I got it right. Look at that. So, as I was explaining, the whirligig saw is good for making imprints through the paper and onto the cardboard, which circumvents the need to cut the paper to size, glue it on. It removes like 3 steps out of the process, which is really cool and really awesome. It just generally makes the process of boxsmithing significantly more efficient. So yeah, that's all fun and good. We're at 56 viewers today. It's an all-time high. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. Alrighty, that's pieces C and D. See these nuts? Ha! Got it. Excuse me. It's been an interesting night. We've got this piece. You know, ideally, like I've mentioned before, I want to put as many individual pieces onto the one sheet of cardboard as possible, but you know how that is sometimes. Sometimes that just ain't gonna happen. Let's see. E, F, G, E, F, yeah, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Alright, yeah, we're good here. Now, what would be better? If I put this onto here and that onto here, or that onto here and this onto here? I don't know just yet. We're gonna try and figure that out. We only got a little more space on this one. That's whatever. We'll just go with this one because that's marginally easier. So I'm gonna do that instead. Wind, thank you for the follow. Let's see here. Just go around as we do here. Go around as we do here. Just keep going down. Going through the motions. Motion of the ocean. Cutting the cardboard. That's piece D. Piece C is up next. And since I'm already here, I might as well cut out A and B as well. Yeah. Because that way I could put at least one other on this piece of cardboard right there. And something that's worth noting for this particular template, I'm not sure how many of you here have cut out templates that I've made in the past, but this one, as you'll see later on in the stream, is a little bit different in the sense that there's enough intricate pieces, significantly more than the Toji spear, that I go from A to, well, whatever number it ends on, A, B, C, D, several, etc., etc., and then we go on to do another A, B, C, D, going on, etc., etc. And the way that I've gone about marking that and showing what all that is, at least the way that I tried to do it, is if you look very closely, it appears my printer was running low on ink, so you can't really see it too well. You can kind of see it. You see that little outline there? That shows which individual piece, in theory, that the parts you're cutting out go to. Now, that's more or less helpful to me right now, because I'm the one who has to cut out these pieces and remember what order that they all go in and everything. But ideally, while they'll still be able to help all of you out at home if and when you decide to make this template yourselves, but ideally you'll be able to follow along to me making this live, and that will just be much easier for you instead. So we'll just see how it goes. We'll see how it is. If I can figure out a way to fit this on here, that'd be... Oh, I think it can. Wonderful. Wonderful indeed. So if that can do that and that can do that, then... Ah, perfect. Love efficiency. It's great. I grew up on Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't like things that cause confusion and delay. Unless it's funny. But generally, no, I don't like things that cause confusion and delay. But, yeah, this is around the correct size that we need for this, so we're just going to go ahead and start hitting it with the World Gig. Like so. Like so. Like so. And like so. That'll take care of piece B. Now we just work on C and A. C and A. The new episode of Amazing Digital Circus cannot come soon enough. The most recent episode was it was quite a ride. No spoilers, obviously, in case people here haven't seen it, but it brings me tremendous joy to see the modern boom of indie animation on YouTube and just the internet in general. Back in my day, back in my time, back when I was but a wee bag of bones, you would have a TV show or a cartoon that fit the demographic of, like, technically advertised for children, but mostly appreciated by, like, teens or young adults and stuff. And they would go for one season, and then they would get canceled, because the network would prefer something that was more dumbed down and designed for children, with very, very few examples, chief among them being Avatar: The Last Airbender, which was able to tell its story in its entirety, but that was the exception and not the status quo. Teen Titans, it's probably one of the most famous examples of it. We did get Young Justice, but Teen Titans never concluded and will likely never be concluded. Samurai Jack was another one for a while. Samurai Jack was fortunately able to conclude on its own eventually, but the point being, more recently, The Owl House. The point I'm trying to make is studios like Glitch Productions giving ample funding and support to indie projects that are kind of the awkward children of the age demographics of what people think of when they think of cartoons is a very beautiful and refreshing thing to see. Some fun fact about me, back when I was in high school, I wanted to actually be the owner of a production studio myself. This was before I discovered I was the boxsmith, of course. But that's the story for another day. Frankly, I still love animation and things of that nature, and maybe one of these days I will still make a production channel of my own, or hell, maybe I'll even work with or for Glitch. I think that'd be really cool. I would love to make a Glitch show or a similar kind of thing. You know, time will tell if that ever happens or not, but I think it'd be pretty neat, not gonna lie. But that's just one of my little dreams and thoughts and daydreams of that nature. One Piece taught us, you're never too old to daydream, and a man's dreams never dies as long as he's living. And even after that, a man's dream never dies. Quoting Blackbeard. But yeah. Jamie says, want to make cardboard chest plate, but then I realized I only have hot glue, scissors, and a dream. Hey, that's where we all begin, Doug. That's where we all begin. Hot glue, scissors, and a dream. I remember those days. I actually have a prototype design for a chest plate that's supposed to be relatively easy to make in theory. I should really come back to it. I really did intend for that to be out and released by now, like 2 Halloweens ago, but I just wasn't satisfied with it at the time. But armor is such a popular thing that people want to make out of cardboard that I do think it would benefit me to revisit it and try to make that design finalized and public for all of you, so that with hot glue, scissors, and a dream, you can actually make a semi-decent cardboard chest plate. And full suit of armor for that matter. That is ultimately my goal. My dream with all of this is to one day show up to a convention like Box Wars in Australia and be greeted by an army of all of you adventurers who I taught how to make stuff out of cardboard and are wearing and bearing the various armaments and stuff like that that you learned from good old Jeb the Boxsmith. That, in my eyes, would be the coolest thing. It would be so awesome. It would be so cool. So all the stuff that I'm doing is working towards that ultimate goal. I think that'd be really cool to see one of these days. But that's ways a ways. Kelball10 says, I just made that. It is not as good as yours is going to be. Don't sell yourself short. We all start somewhere. I was not always a master at boxsmithing. Should have seen my earlier works. There was a time when I was just starting out where making something like this would not have been possible, let alone making a template where other people could replicate my work. I didn't even think that was a thing you could do until I saw Kamui Cosplay make a tutorial on that very concept, and that's the reason why I'm able to do that today. Now, if I can fit these last 2 onto this sheet, that would be awesome, because then I wouldn't need to cut out another one. Oh, sweet! I think I can. Wonderful. Piccolo, thank you for the follow. I look forward to seeing you in the next aura farming tournament. Yeah. All right, this is piece D. Maybe I should label it D2 or something like that. Or maybe if the footage that I'm gathering by making this right now is good enough that when I edit it down to a more easy to watch tutorial size, it'll be, good enough and all of that. We'll see. Ideally, I'll have both, but if at least one functions properly as it's supposed to, I'm cool with that. I'm happy with that. Oh yeah. That's good, right there. You know, my adventurers, I used to train for American Ninja Warrior. Another bit of... Oh, my parents told me to get advice from you, and I love what you do. Oh, well, thank you. Colatry says, can you make a little small... Can you make a little small island with cardboard? I mean, in theory, fill it with 100 kilograms of feathers. Nice. I mean, in theory, yes, you can. I'm pretty sure you could. There are ways of waterproofing cardboard, at least to a small extent. My immediate reaction would go under the would use the strategy of one of the former great boxsmiths, Carter Brown from the Creek. Carter Brown of the Creek. He popularized the technique of using duct tape as a sealant for cardboard. It's been a staple of the practice ever since. But yeah, as I was saying, Steve Harrington, good to see you. I saw you in the finale of Stranger Things. You should make paper mache to make it stronger. Making cardboard art stronger. That is an excellent point. Paper mache is a really valid strategy for that. I'll admit I myself am not the most adept at using paper mache as a medium, but I do recognize... Oh, excuse me. Excuse me, I just ate earlier. I do recognize its usage and value as something to do just that. Me personally, I'm more a fan of making spines, like using biddly bobs like wooden dowels and stuff to create that structural stability within the cardboard and everything like that. Alright, so that's about everything on these pieces cut and done the way we should. You should probably know that I'm talking about what I'm talking about. I'm thinking of making Crusader armor. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that, or if I pronounced it correctly. Probably not on both, but that sounds awesome. So yeah, go for that. All right, so we're about done with these pieces here. So we're gonna put that to the side and go and grab this next piece here, so we can continue. Unless that was everything. No, that can't be right. We still have like another 2 or so, don't we? Because here's the thing, my dear adventurers. Would I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I forgot my train of thought, but the thing I was getting at was that can't be all of the pieces. Oh yeah, I remember what I was going to say. Because this is mirrored front and back, you'll notice that these are the opposite direction of what the other ones were. So, what was I saying? That's for the front and back kind of thing. So I'm trying to figure out, did I cut out all of the pieces that we need, or do we still have... No, we still have ones that we need to cut out too, because that and these other ones are still of that side, which makes perfect sense, honestly. B and A, yep, that's correct. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, reversed. I think we've got everything that we need proper here. Things are starting to look correct, and if there is an error, I can just double check everything, but I'm going to assume that's all good here. And we're just going to move on with that. Move these pieces back down here, over to the side, and resume what I was doing. You should try to make Rio scissors from Gachu Akuda. Ooh, maybe. I really should get into Gachu Akuda. It's I've heard nothing but great things about it. But that's for another day. In the meantime, we've got a cleaver to make. Let's see here. How many more pieces is this? Just the 4? I think just the 4, yeah. Alright, cool. That'll make things easy for me. Let's get this all cut out to the like. That's 1. That's 2. Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop of a Tootsie Roll? I don't know, Timmy. Why don't you figure it out yourself? Stop bothering me. I'm an owl. Goodbye. You know, I went most of my life without knowing that there was an extended version of that commercial. He visits like 3 other creatures known for like wisdom and stuff like that before he finally gets to the owl who rips him off. It's interesting stuff. Low key, they don't make commercials like they used to, dog. Like back in my day, back in Gimmelstump in my youth, we had unskippable ads on cable TV, but it was kind of offset by 1 out of 3 unskippable ads was genuinely entertaining. Particularly stuff that was marketed towards children, because that just makes sense. This was before the days of modern COPPA making so you couldn't really advertise directly to children like that online without consequences. Which, while I do believe it, while is managed poorly in our current day and age, is ultimately for the best as far as what it aims to do in theory. What it actually does is another story, but that's a topic for another day. The point I was trying to make is, back in those days where we had those long-ass commercial breaks on our cable TV programs in the middle of our Cartoon Networks and Nickelodeons and all that kind of stuff, you had some genuinely very funny and creative ads. My personal favorites were the Capri Sun Respect the Pouch campaign ads and the Fruit by the Foot. I still think about if you remember, that would be Endgame, my friend. You may qualify for an internet veterans discount, an internet early bird special discount. Remember, kids, never replace your friend's DNA with fruit by the foot. Bad things happen when you do that. So we're about done with these different pieces right here. I've been caught in the middle of monologuing, so I've kind of apted to just cutting all of these pieces out first and then hitting them with the whirligig saw afterwards. So we'll see how that goes. No real harm in it. Many ways to skin a cat, many ways to gut a fish, multiple birds for multiple stones, all things of that nature. You know how it is, you know the vibes. That's how we do, that's how we be. But yeah, ultimately I'm kind of glad that we don't have cable TV and the structure that I grew up on is kind of obsolete these days with the rise of streaming and tablets and all that kind of stuff. But there were the occasional gems that came from that era, which is generally how things go. Things are rarely entirely good or bad. Even in bad situations, there could be good moments, and even in good times, there could be bad stuff. And it's just how life is. Life is confusing and complex, but we're all here, and we're all working at getting through it together, which makes it more bearable and all that kind of stuff. Or genuinely good, depending on the day, depending on the people, all of that nature. But enough of that philosophical stuff. We've got cardboard to cut. Let's start with, alright, those two are a pair, because that's A and B for their, A, B, C, D, E, F. So those are two different sectors and pieces. I'm going to have to double check the diagrams eventually, I'm sure, but at the bare minimum, just to start, I have an idea of what we're doing here. So we're just going to go ahead and go with that. I've mentioned before, I'll say it again as many times as it takes. I don't really care too much for perfection in the hobby of being boxsmiths. I think boxsmithing excels at being the perfect entry-level medium, and my entire goal is to make it so with just good enough or even barely good skill, you can make something that looks pretty cool, and you can always come back to it and refine it later. But I think it's crucial that when you're first dipping your toes into something, a good experience when you're just starting out does a lot to motivate you to try more challenging things later on when you want to get better and stuff like that. You know, just feed the old dopamine engine a little bit. And I think that cardboard has the potential for cosplayers to be that very medium. So everything I've been doing these last couple of years, from making these templates to discovering unorthodox tools like this whirligig saw, which is technically a neuroscience medical device, but it works great for making this kind of thing easier. Just stuff like that. That is the ultimate goal of being the Grand Boxsmith. Trying to lower the barrier eventually to cosplay from skill to price as much as possible. If not both, then at least one. So yeah. Could you also try to make the drill from Gurren Lagann? Ah, fellow Gurren Lagann fan. It's good to see you in my chat. I would love to do that one of these days. Gurren Lagann is my favorite anime of all time. The damn thing changed my life. It taught me to believe in myself. So, yeah, I'd absolutely make something from it one of these days. It's just a matter of when. Maybe the next time it has an anniversary that pops up, I think I'd do it then. Frankly, if I was going to do something for Gurren Lagann, I would just make the full-on mech. If I'm being honest, drill and all. There's a cosplay competition that's happening, I want to say like April or so, at a college not far from where I live. And part of me thinks how baller it would be to roll up in a costume of Gurren Lagann, but the mech from Gurren Lagann. But that it's kind of time consuming and stuff like that. I absolutely can do it, but if I'm working on that, then I'm not working on making these templates and stuff for all of you at home, since these take the bulk of my time to do that kind of thing. And I have other hobbies and interests and things like that outside of work that I prefer to do in my free time instead. So it's not never, it's just one of these days, maybe later. Then again, if like a big old company decides to reach out and sponsor me to make something like that, that's really big and cool, because that's generally when I make my most biggest and impressive stuff, is when I don't have to worry about the fact that I'm not... Making big stuff is easier when you know it's being paid for in advance, is the point I'm trying to make. Which is why generally I make really big stuff when it's a sponsored post these days, because that has the best return on investment for me. Alrighty, that's all of the pieces cut out and stuff like that. Also, big stuff is very difficult to simplify so that the average boxsmith can make it. So it doesn't really suit the greater MO as much as the smaller stuff like this makes, which is a lot easier to get all of you into and making and things of that nature. Alrighty, so we're technically about halfway done, but as you'll find eventually, we're going to need more cardboard sooner than later, but to start, this is more than enough. We're going to take our knife here just to chop this into easier bite-sized pieces before we get into the cutting phase of things. Granted, you can do this with scissors too, but I find the knife is much easier and quicker, which is partially my ultimate goal with all of this, you know, as it be. So that's those two done. Now let's get these guys done as well, just to make things easier on myself. You know the vibes. You know how we be, how we do, all of that nature. The fitness Grand Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues. Line up at the starting line. Alrighty, we've come to a small stopping point. Let's take a water break. Waterbot, get me water. Thank you, Waterbot. I feel better already. Wonderful. Okay. We've done with that phase. Let's go on to phase 2, which is where there are many ways you could go about doing this. You could cut out the pieces manually since it's just on the cardboard, or we could use our handy dandy chomp saw. For those of you unfamiliar, this is a tool specifically designed to cut cardboard and do it in a way that makes it safe and easy for anyone of any age to perform. So we're gonna fire this bad boy up and start get to cutting. Do you post long form on YouTube? Yes, I do. I need to do it more so, and this new year is one of my goals to do that, but yes, I do. You will be able to catch the long form and even a more abridged version of this very stream on YouTube later, so don't worry, you don't have to be held hostage here in order to figure out how to make this kind of stuff. Don't worry about that. That's, you know what? Let me see if I can... Because obviously you can't hear me when I'm cutting things out. Let me see if I can, like, put some music on for y'all and lower the volume of me cutting when that's going on, just so you have something that isn't just machinery. It's a little more pleasant to the ears, if you know what I mean. Let's see. 5%. Let's go here. Let's get some Undertale music. Here, and shuffle play. Yeah, it should do. Yeah, alright, so let me lower my volume down while I'm cutting this. Alright then. That's all the pieces. Coconuts, thank you for the follow. Alrighty. Check this out. Look at all of that. Quite the job of cutting done today. I'll put that down for now. I'm just going to gather up all of the spare pieces before we get everything organized and everything. Just clean up a little bit. Clean up, clean up, clean up the filth. Clean up, clean up, clean up the filth. Okay, oops. We actually need that. Just for a little while longer, just so I know what the pieces are when we're putting them away. Cleaning up, much like in cooking, is an essential part of boxsmithing, or frankly any hobby. I do believe that a perfectly clean workstation is a sign of not a lot of work being done, but I also believe in having some habitual cleanliness is good for efficiency overall. So it's about finding a balance. Let's get rid of this. I've got a comedically large box behind me that I put all the scraps in. It's about full right now. I should probably take it out to the recycling bin sooner than later. As I mentioned before, the positive environmental impact of boxsmithing is not necessarily was never my primary goal with this, but it is one that, you know, I still think is pretty good and useful and all that kind of stuff. So, like, you know, I still try a little bit here and there to be, you know, somewhat eco-friendly, and I encourage all of you to do the same. I'm not saying you gotta be John Eco, the recycling man, because I certainly am not, but what little we can all do is definitely better than nothing. So, that being the case, let's look at what we've got here. All of the little pieces that go and are going to make the cleaver. These are all of the whatchamacalls it. It's going to be a bit of a pain trying to match up which goes to where. We kept it somewhat consistent with those 6 or so over there. But this might be a bit, excuse me, challenging keeping up with everything else. But that's not too big of an issue. Nothing to worry about, really. That's my dog in the background. She just got up from a nap. Let's see, that looks, that's probably correct over there. We'll come back to all of that later. That's not my biggest concern at the moment. My biggest concern at the moment is, I don't know, I kind of lost my train of thought, if I'm being honest. It's kind of hot in here, hang on a second. Gotta lock in. We're in tank top mode. No more of that comfy show. No more comfy pigeon sweater trademark. We gotta go tank top mode. That's when we really gotta lock in and stuff. Goja Katie says, "I love your crafts." Ah, thank you very much. Alrighty, let's go and resume said crafts that are loved so much by the audience. What order do I have these pieces in again? I could probably stand to make the. Do I have a? Did I forget to make a guide of what order the pieces go in? I think I might have. That seems like something I might have done. That's alright. This is why we do these little test drive streams, to make sure everything is in order for the optimal assembly experience. Note to self, for future Jeb, this piece should, this one right here should reflect all of the little ways that I cut everything, not just the bigger pieces overall. It's not the end of the world. We can still figure things out based on the alphabetical order that the pieces that we've cut out and saved are in. But it is going to take us a little bit longer than it ideally should for what I had in mind for making this project. So it's cool. Could be a lot worse. We'll make the most of it. Take the good with the bad. You know how it is. You know the vibes. Hello, what are you making? I am making Nanami's Cleaver from Jujutsu Kaisen. Thank you for asking. That's what it's gonna kind of look like when we're all done with it. Jujutsu Kaisen is back, so we're making Jujutsu Kaisen props this month. Next month, who knows? I've got a loose schedule of the kind of things that, darn it, forgot about the holes in the center for pieces like this one. And its mate. I think that was this one right here. Yeah, that was. So we're gonna have to chop a little hole into that one, which is probably best that I do it this way anyway. A really gig is good at a lot of things, but small circular things like this, not so much. So we're just going to do that the semi-old-fashioned way, first by poking holes into it with a pen versus the proper whirligig, and then just cutting that out the old-fashioned way, preferably with a knife, but you could probably get away with it doing scissors too. Let's just go like that. And that helps me recognize which piece this is supposed to be, because that hole means it's one of the upper layers. So that reminds me that it's going to go on far later into the process, which narrows down which one is which to this one right here. This is the base layer for that one. And if I assume correctly, this is A, B, C, D, E, F, E. Where's G? There should be a G for this one. D, alright, G, F, E. That's probably a different D. That's definitely a different D. Excuse me. It's supposed to look like this one when it's all done and everything. It's supposed to be the largest profile. Let's retract that knife since I'm not using it. E, alright, F, G, so we need a D. There's a D that's around here somewhere that should be, are you the D? We are the D, 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 we are the D. That doesn't look correct. That's probably a different one. I need another D. Which D is that D? Monkey D. Luffy. Loki getting lost in the sauce here. F. E. That all goes there. Maybe this is the right D. No, the other one was the right one, because because then that would... Alright, I've confused myself. Might have to look at the original template again. That's alright. These things happen sometime. Okay, but I was certain that this went to... Oh, doy. This oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, that goes there like that. And that goes there like that. Okay, I remember what I was cooking now. Okay, it's coming back to me now. So B, we can be B's, Mark. This is good news. We can be B's. You have no idea how long that was stuck in my head when that first came out. Which one is this for? I feel like there's another B around here somewhere. That's the one that's supposed to be there. Yeah, because that A is supposed to be right there, so the B should be around here somewhere too. Assuming I cut it out. Unless... No, that's too large. That's not the right one. That goes to this one. So where's the other B? What did I do with that B? That's a D. It's not the right D, but it is a D. Darn it, what did I do with it? I'm confused. Very confused. Okay. How do we do this? That's not correct. One of you must be different than what I initially thought. Welcome back, my fellow Gurren Lagann fan. You're just in time to see me, hopelessly confused by a creation of my own making. Did it fall somewhere, or am I just not... There should be 3 Bs. It's B for this layer, it's B for the second layer, it's B for the third layer. Where's the other B? There should be another B here. It's not that B, because that B goes to there, because that goes on top of this one. B, C, D, E, F. That all goes together there. I am so confused. What happened to the B? It's supposed to go right... Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There it is. It was underneath it. I knew it had to be around there somewhere. Alrighty, so let's smooth this out a bit more so that it all looks proper. You get a rough idea for how everything is supposed to be. Pun not intended. Alright. Let's move all these guys to the side. Scooch, scooch. We're learning as we go. We're learning as we go. No one's a professional streamer overnight. Yeah, that looks about correct. Something kind of like that. Where do I get all of my cardboard from? Where don't I get my cardboard from, frankly? When I was starting out, I mostly bought it from hardware stores. But nowadays, enough people that know me know that I do this, that they're just kind of like, hey, I've got boxes, you want them? And I'm usually like, yeah, I'll take them, and I've yet to run out of boxes through that method. So it's a mixture of that. Also, you know, I save the boxes from when I get packages in the mail, things of that nature. I get them from various sources. Alright, now we're starting to cook. We're cooking again. Yep. That'll probably be a cool transition when I make the longer video of this later. Yeah, that looks about right. Cool. We can, of course, make minor adjustments and everything like that, but that is the general idea of what we're going for here. That's the first layer. And the second layer is this one here. That starts with... excuse me. Now that we have the process of elimination working in our favor here, I can kind of gauge which pieces go to where now. If I remember correctly, this goes there. These two go together. There's a third one that's around here somewhere. I don't know what happened to it. I think it might be over here. Yeah. Alright, so Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Look at that. We're balling now. Ballin'. Yep, that goes like that. Then last but not least, we've got these two, which go here, and we're gonna have to put a hole in this one. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Poke, poke, poke. Cut, cut, cut. Like so, like so. Who is my favorite and least favorite character in Gurren Lagann? That is an interesting question. That is a tough question because Gurren Lagann's character design is peak, and I will glaze every aspect of Gurren Lagann to the end of days. But if I had to say a favorite character, it would obviously be Simon, and least favorite character, I don't know. They're all great. Shoot, who would be my least favorite character in Gurren Lagann? I've never been asked that before. Again, I kind of like everybody to some extent. Darn. Darn. Because, like, I could give, like, a cheap answer like Anti-Spiral or one of the nameless, not nameless, or one of the various Beastmen from the early seasons, but, no, I'm better than that. Fatali's favorite character. Rose, the church boy, the church boy who was Seaman's second in command in the later half of the series. Rose, his name is slipping from me, but you know who I'm talking about. He grew up in the religious cave in the early seasons. They picked him up like 8 episodes in or something like that. Let's see here. Did this end at G? A, B, C, D? Nope, ended at J. Or did it? No, ended at M. Rosui. Yes, him. Don't call him a bum. He had well-meaning intentions. He just didn't see eye to eye with Simon in different ways and stuff like that. I see where he's coming from, but he is arguably my least favorite character of the cast. But that's kind of by design. Where were we again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're just gonna call that 6. Is it correct? Who knows, but it's close enough. We can always swap it out later if it's a problem. Let's see here. Oh, wait. Yeah, okay, that's probably correct. Now, you are almost certainly that one. So I'm going to put you there too. You're a bit thin, so you're probably that one. Yeah. Making the guide to which order the pieces go in would probably be the way to go for the final version of this template. But hey, that's why we do what we do. We live and we learn, and all of that jazz. We have an imposter among us. Yep, you don't belong there, I don't think. Swap you out with the others. And these three here. Yep, that's what that's all going to generally look like. Father Almighty, Father Almighty, we shall eat today. Alrighty, look at that. That looks pretty decent. So, that concludes the first phase of all of this. Next up would be making duplicates of everything. So we're going to take a quick 5-minute break. Let's see if I have a 5-minute break screen that I can throw up really quickly. Let's see. Image. Do I have a "we'll be right back" image? I'll also get one real quick. Yeah, that'll work. Dang it. There we are. Actually, let me go shrink that down. Like so. I'll mute my mic and give you all some music. Alright, thank you all for your patience. I am now back. Jellyfish Man. Yes, this is Nanami's knife. We just finished the base pieces for it. Now we're going to get some more cardboard here, which I conveniently have right next to me. Definitely didn't spend 5 minutes running off to try and find more cardboard. Always had it on me, always do. Don't worry about it. Now, let's just get on with the next phase of things. Next phase of things includes transferring these pieces to this thingamajiggy so that we can duplicate them for the opposite side. The benefit of doing it this way is that we get the benefit of the precision of the templates, but we also get it so that we can, as long as you have enough raw cardboard material, you can make it so that you only have the patchwork lines on the one side of the cardboard and it's a smooth product on the other. So it's ultimately a matter of preference, but if you're looking for a smoother finish, then learning how to do it like this may or may not be, might actually be a good strategy for you. So that's what we're talking about here. Alright, so just make sure everything's arranged so that we have all of the material onto the cardboard. Ideally, this piece I found is big enough that everything can fit onto it, but even if it can't, I have other pieces that we can use instead. So we'll see how it goes. Frankly, if I have enough for this, I'd probably keep it on there too, honestly. But yeah, let's do that actually. For reasons you'll see later, I'd prefer to keep this portion of the second half of the cleaver on this type excuse me, on this type of cardboard. Primarily so that it looks consistent on both sides when you look the front and the back. Please search Pavis Shield. Alright. Pavis Shield. Oh, interesting. Medieval shield. Pretty cool. I assume, Mr. Lucas, you asked me to look that up because you want me to make one at some point? If that is true, then yeah, sure, at some point. Yeah, I'll probably get around to that. It looks pretty neat. I'll definitely have a need for one of those. I think that, I think there's a shield like that in Elden Ring last time I played. I think it was the painted shield or something called similar to that, if memory serves. But anyway, we're going to start with this one, and we're going to grab our good old friend, the plier stapler, if I can remember where I put him last. Ah, there he is. There he is. Alrighty. Plier stapler. Nom 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 nom. Great for securing things to cardboard temporarily. Just puts a staple in it, in the shape... It's a stapler in the shape of a plier, and it's good for stapling cardboard. Oh dear, pieces are falling. Raindrops falling on my head. Nothing seems to fit. Raindrops are falling on my head. Falling. Now I love a plier stapler because, as I've mentioned before, it's really good at holding down the cardboard in a way that it ain't going anywhere, but it's also very easy to remove what I actually wanted to without tearing or taking away residue or leaving much of any sign that it was there other than the two tiny holes that it puts into the cardboard, which is something I can certainly live with. It's way less messier than using something like glue or various other types of temporary adhesives. More consistent than tape, not as sticky as glue. So it's the ultimate happy medium. That's why I love using it. I stopped using it for a while because I ran out of staples and needed to buy more, but I just never got around to it because I had other financial concerns and stuff like that. But recently, I finally took it as a priority and got myself some more of these plier staples for my plier stapler. So we love to see that. We love to see that. We love efficiency in this house. I made the mistake of getting too reliant on it not too long ago, where I used it entirely in the place of glue, which, while is technically doable, is not something I would recommend, primarily because the staples are very pokey, and if you try to use them for something like armor or heck, even a template for like a sword or something like that, if you have it for long enough and the hold that it has wears long enough, you can accidentally scratch yourself with the staples, and that's not fun for anybody. So we're gonna put that on hold for now. We're gonna throw that over there. So put all the other pieces together, like so. Pretty sure that's all the pieces for this one. Nope, we're missing one, of course. Now that's all the pieces for this one. Now when men get to fighting, it happens here, and it finishes here. Shout out to Mad Max Thunderdome, shout out to Subtronics, and, who's that cover with? Excision, yes. Shout out to Mad Max Thunderdome, and shout out to Subtronics and Excision. Incredible song. I'm really into dubstep. I've learned recently that I'm really into the music, not so much the culture and concerts involving it. I went to my first dubstep rave to see Subtronics, actually, not too long ago. It was a few weeks ago. I took a solo road trip to Florida. I stayed at a friend there's house. And I learned that while I do very much enjoy the music, the rave scene is not really for me. But hey, now I know, and I was able to write off going to the concert as a business expense, so I get a tax deduction for it. For legal reasons, that is a joke, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I could actually do that. I just heard a streamer mention they did something for and read it off as a tax deduction because it technically did qualify as a business expense. I should really do that. I should like properly log myself as a LLC now that I have a bit of cash to do that now. So like $100 or so here in the U.S., my part of the world. Be good business protection, especially if I really want to get serious about all this template making and things that I'm doing. Well, the legal protection that being an LLC provides couldn't hurt. I made plans to do it a while ago, but those plans kind of fell through because of various other financial things at the time. It's a long story, and we don't have to get into that today. Oh, something just fell off my desk. It was my glasses case. I'll pick it up later. Maybe when I'm done chomping all of this. Mr. Lucas says, because mine broke and I need a tutorial, please. You know, Mr. Lucas, since you asked nicely, we'll get right on that sooner than later. Probably. I make no promises, but I am sympathetic to your cause, and for whatever that counts for, I will probably get around to making one of those at some point. It's gone from not even something I remotely consider to something I'm genuinely considering doing, for what that's worth. I know that sounds vague and unpromising, but I'd rather be vague and disappointing sounding than get your hopes up and then just completely forget I even said I was going to do that, which would be possible, and I don't want to do that to you because that would suck. So I'm saying it's a strong maybe, a significantly stronger maybe than before. You're welcome, don't worry about it. Okie dokie. Now let's get all these pieces cut out. Now we've got everything done. Should make things much easier. Let's get this. Let's begin our chop chop. Wait a minute. I forgot what I was doing. I forgot that the whole reason I'm doing it this way is so that I could arrange all the pieces in the orders so that this could be one singular piece, not a bunch of other pieces like it was just a moment ago. Well, better to notice that now versus further on into the process of cutting things out. Oh well. So, now that that is what I made aware of and reminded to myself that's what I'm doing, it's just a simple readjustment. Not a huge deal. Just an echo gentleman. Just a little parlor trick, something we have down here in Louisiana, don't you worry. Sit down at my table, put your minds at ease. You'll relax and enable me to do anything I please. Princess and the Frog, underrated Disney film. Genuinely very good. If you have something against Princess and the Frog, I don't trust you, quite frankly. It gave us a lot of good songs. It gave us, it gave us It gave us more of Keith David singing, which is always a boon. You can have whatever opinion you want about Hazbin Hotel, but any medium that has Keith David singing in it is a medium that low-key has its worth for that alone in my eyes. Loser Baby is like the only song from the Hazbin Hotel roster that I still unironically sing to this day. Maybe Hell is Forever if I'm feeling particularly silly, but definitely Loser Baby. Genuinely love that song. It's a good one. But I digress. Princess and the Frog gave us Friends on the Other Side. And any song that has the Arbiter singing is a good song. Let's get that out of there. Alright, that looks good. So let me go and chop out the rough outline for this. That way we have enough space to do the exact same thing with the other piece. The base piece. The One Piece. Speaking of One Piece, has anyone else seen the latest trailer for Season 2 of One Piece live action? Because I have, and I am very excited for it. What's that meme they have of Rayleigh crying? This is just so peak. That's how I feel about the new One Piece trailer. They leaned fully into just how silly the series is, and that is wonderful to see. I am very excited to see all of the goofy stuff that happens in the the Log Town, Little Garden, Drum Island portions of the story. Since they showed just how silly they're willing to get by adding the misfortunes, or whatever they were called, the otter and the bird with the Gatling guns on it, that gives me hope that we'll get to see the buggy Gotti, the buggy car. I really need to see the buggy car in live action. That would make my absolute year to see they actually translated the buggy car. One of my favorite bits from early One Piece was the buggy car. So if they adapt that, then there's no doubt in my mind that the entire series, from start to finish, no matter how far they intend to go with it, is going to be just absolute peak. So we'll see how that goes. Let's get that out of there. Let's line that up. So line it up, line it up. Yeah, that should do. I've gotten into Overwatch recently. Well, that's half true. I've always been a fan of Overwatch, primarily the lore and story, because by the time the first iteration of the game was out and popular, I didn't have a PC strong enough to get anywhere close to running it. And back in those days, it actually cost money. Overwatch, the original, was like $20 or something like that, which $20 for a game I couldn't even run in the first place and wouldn't be able to run for many years wasn't an attractive purchase to middle school Jeb. And when they dropped Overwatch 2, they just made it free anyway, so I was overall better off just saving my money that way anyway. So that worked out for me personally pretty well. But now that I'm older, now that I have a computer that can easily run Overwatch, ouch! What just poked me? Darn it! That hurt. Ow. Something under my desk poked me. I don't know what it was. I have to look into that later. But as I was saying, as an adult with adult money and stuff like that, and a PC that can easily run Overwatch 2, I've gotten into it. I've made some friends in a Discord server dedicated to Overwatch, among other things related. And it's a fun time playing the game with them. It's a good old time, and that's a friend of mine. A friend of mine who's a bit of a video game purist. He saw I was playing Overwatch. He saw it on my Discord profile, and next time I spoke to him, he asked me if I was okay, because in his eyes, you need to check in on someone if they're willingly playing Overwatch. That's not a sign of good. That's not a sign in his eyes of doing well mentally. So he gave me a little check-in regarding that, which was very kind of him. But I assured him I unironically enjoyed it, and I was playing with people who also love the game. And these are like really good people at the game too. I lucked out tremendously by the fact that they're really good at the game and they're chill and stuff, and willing to teach me, an absolute noob of the game, my level 7 Ramatra, how to play the game, because I've played TF2 and other games. I'm a tank main through and through, so the tank class is what's primarily drawn me. And of the tanks, the ones I play most are Ramatra, occasionally Sigma, Reinhardt if the mission really requires someone to just hold up a big old shield and not much else. But yeah, and I'm having a fun time with the game, so that's been one of the ways I've been unwinding lately, is playing a bit of Overwatch, occasionally with the gang. So that's a fun time. So the lesson in that is that sometimes there are things you want in life that you're fine to want them, but sometimes it just isn't the right time for you to get them. But if you wait a little bit longer and still keep those desires, eventually the right time will come. Because if I was able to get, because I didn't have, to start, didn't have a PC that could run Overwatch, and heard something weird outside, sorry. At the time I didn't have a PC that could run Overwatch, and even if I could run it, I didn't have any friends who I could play it with, because much like me, they also didn't have computers that could run Overwatch. So now, not only can I play Overwatch, but it's a time and point in my life where I have found people who can play it with me, and let me say, Overwatch, playing it with other people is a lot more fun than playing it by yourself. Playing it by yourself is fun too, but I mean, when you're with a team, you get like quadruple the Battle Pass XP, among other things, and it's just good vibes and camaraderie if you're with a group that you really mesh with. So yeah. Sometimes if you don't get what you want initially, it's not because it's a never, it's just because it's not right now in a cosmic divine sense. That's my little lesson to you regarding that. Mr. Lucas says, and yes, I like the historical medieval times. Ah, good stuff. You probably like Elden Ring, quite frankly. That is if you like the fantasy aspects of it too. I think there's a shield just like that in Elden Ring. It's a painted shield, a mosaic shield, something along the lines of that. I should probably play Elden Ring again. Overwatch is taking my time right now. But I do really enjoy Elden Ring. I've beaten the entire game. I'm playing the DLC again for the second time in my spare time when I'm not playing like Overwatch or whatever other game captures my interest at the time. That's pretty much done. That's the general profile of the Cleaver's second part. This is the smaller layer, the detail layer. That right there is the primary layer. Both are good? Yes. Yes, both are good. It's referring to medieval and fantasy stuff. Alrighty then. Shout out Rab So Petty. Love that guy's work. It's really nice seeing how the anime abridged community has never gone away. It's just evolved and have shown that there are different ways that people can go about doing it. Hood JJK is a prime example of that. That stuff is absolutely hilarious, and I adore it tremendously. Rab So Petty has a tremendous talent, which is very good when it comes to adapting an anime to an abridged format, is making the characters say funny and outlandish things, but still having them somewhat still in character and doing things that are in line with the original plot of the story. And then sometimes you can just go in the complete opposite direction. Case in point, Sister Leveling by the Anime Boys, I think, where they just kind of create their own plot and dialogue that's admittedly very entertaining, but it just kind of does their own thing and only loosely follows the main original Solo Leveling story. But needless to say, no matter how you go about it, anime abridging is a fun time, and it's a staple of the internet, and copyright laws need to buzz off and let people have fun. Classic Man D, Grimjaw. It's a channel whose name is slipping from my tongue, but they are doing Cyberpunk 2077 abridged, and there are up-and-coming ones, but they're really funny, and I tremendously enjoyed watching that. But yeah, I digress. Kane Fragrances says, hi, hello, welcome to the stream. We're making Nanami's Cleaver from JJK. Alright, so we've got the main piece, we got the detail piece. Got a main girl, got a couple, Flock of Flame, one good-ass boxsmith. Oh, goodness, what am I doing? Alrighty, that's, we're probably gonna leave that alone. It's not crucial that that's the same as the final one. And the baby is the final product. Correct. Alrighty, so let's get it started in here. You know what, just so I don't have to double check, keep track of everything again, we're gonna put on hold cutting out these pieces since they're a bit confusing, and just go back to finishing up this portion of the main blade. Do I have a spine for the main blade? I'm trying to remember if I have one. Kane Franger says, I love your videos for years now. I've recently got back to the hobbies. Hey, we love to see it. We love to see it. That's great news. I'm glad you're getting back to the hobby. Thanks for being a fan. Let me see here. I need a spine. I need something that's... If I have like a wooden dowel or something that can go inside of this so that it has, you know, structural stability and everything like that, that would be great. Let me go see if I can find something I can use real quick. 1 second. Do I have any spare pieces? Oh, that's a good sign. Ah, praise the Lord. I had one of those left, just lying around somewhere. That's going to be perfect. That paired with this other smaller one that I also happen to have around here. Ooh, that'll be just nice. So, as I've mentioned before, you don't want to have your spine all the way at the tippity top of your build. Typically when you're making like a traditional sword or blade or something like that, because if you accidentally stab someone with it, this part of it crumples kind of like a car, so that the energy of the spine inside doesn't go directly into whoever you accidentally hit it with. Miss Lucas's cardboard blacksmithing is so cool. I mostly like watching your channel, other cardboard blacksmiths mostly. Oh, if you know of more cardboard blacksmiths, yo, put me on game, send them over. I'd love to see them. I always love seeing what other people do with the hobby and crafting, things of that nature. But as I was saying, in this case, because this isn't a traditional sword with an edge that goes like that, the actual point that's most dangerous, quote unquote, is this portion right here. So while I am going to have a spine that goes into this part, per se, I'm not going to have it all the way at the very edge of it for that very reason. But we'll get to that in a moment. Let me go grab the cutting tool. So, I'll pick that up later. Just a pair of pliers. Just going to take those. We're going to put it about here to about here. That's good. I'm just going to chop that. Nom 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 nom. Go, you got your grip strength. I'm a strength faith dex build as a boxsmith. Primarily strength faith, but I've got enough dex points that makes it easy to do stuff like that. Oh, Cardboard Armor Smith. I know of him. I think he's a member of the Discord server. I think he might be a fan even. I remember him. He was the one who was working on the Jaeger armor out of cardboard, right, from Pacific Rim. Was that him? I think that might have been him. But yeah, I need to check in on him in a bit. I need to check in on his progress on that. That's cool stuff. Shout out to Cardboard Armor Smith. He makes cool stuff. Alrighty, so that's cut to size, and now we're gonna cut these smaller bits so that they go on the inside about right here. That should be good. Let's chop that with my pliers. Or are these snips? These are more snips than pliers. I heard he's making Gothic armor now. Ooh, cool. I'll have to take a look at that. Ah, damn it. Alright, that's what I was trying to do. Yeah, I could still use this, and I'm not worse for the wear. This is why you don't handle sharp tools while distracted, kids. Be mindful of that. Alright. Even with this snip, this is still useful, so we're going to go ahead and use it anyway. Just the top, middle, and that should be fine. Yeah, so we're going to trim this down a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. That's how we're going to arrange the spine. Like so. I'm going to put it on this edge so even if whatever happens, that won't accidentally puncture anyone. So with that being the case, we're now going to lift the layer beneath this and put this one on top of it. So we're going to go ahead and put this to the side and save it for another project in the future. And I'll make a mental note to myself to buy more of those sticks for when we make the next project, which is probably going to be either Maki's Soul Splitter or Yuta's Katana, one of the two. Week of the Power Couple or something like that. Alrighty. So I'm going to take these, going to lift it up. So my first ever good weapon on their Discord name is Noxus. Oh cool, I'll have to check it out. We're about due for another community creation showcase this month anyway. Let's see here. Let's get that lifted up. Cool in the gang. Alright, I've got my hot glue gun that I've already had heating up and everything, so it's ready to go. I'm just gonna start off by getting a nice long line in the middle here so that we can put the spine down. It's gotta be perfect, just has to be, you know, good enough to get the job done. Like so. Just gotta rub it, ouch, just rub it in there. Just get rid of the staple so it doesn't scratch me anymore. It's the only downside to the plier stapler. It's incredibly efficient, but you gotta be mindful when you're using it. Speaking of, let's go get rid of these. Alright. You know, I feel like you're the type of person who likes a warhammer, like the historical kind. Yes, you're absolutely right. It's my weapon of choice, actually. Maybe not the purely historical kind, but definitely inspired by that. Oh, I didn't cut this. Not fully, at least. Let me go fix that real quick. I thought that looked a bit strange. Wow. Good. Let's go bend that to size a little bit right here. Make sure that what I'm doing is semi-easy to follow along. Because I remember last stream, I had some issues with the placement of everything. That made it a bit confusing for the viewers at home. So with every new stream, I like to think I learned something new. That'll be the takeaway from this one. So with that being done, the staples have been extracted, so we're just gonna glue this boy onto here. Like so. Ow. Remember to be groovy and never gloopy. You can't get this from an egg. Alrighty. Cool, cool. That should be good enough to hold for now. I'm gonna put that down. Get on to the next piece. Next piece should be this one. Let's extract the staple from it. And we're gonna go ahead and take the whole. Ooh, there was another one in here too. Blech. When I'm done with all of these projects, I just take the entire table and not the entire table. I don't do that. Even though I could, because I'm very, very strong, I just take the mat, because that's easier. Now for the gluing, I like to make sure, no matter what pattern I do, that I get it closer to the edges, so generally straight lines are the best way to go for that. Alright, Miss Lucas asked question. This one, how do you repair your cardboard weapons after a battle? Mostly because I like to fight my cardboard weapons with my brother. You see, that's the neat part. You don't. That's not entirely true. The simple answer is that it's a lot easier if you have if you made it from a template, like a lot of my stuff is, because that way you can just almost like replacing card parts. You can just take the piece that's broken and stuff like that and just install a new one. But as for the even when doing that, you'd have to like take apart more things in order to put things together, kind of like, you know, where the glue is and everything like that. And for that, I'd say cardboard is just expendable enough of a material that I think it's more worthwhile to just replace a prop than to fix it. Unless it has significant sentimental value or otherwise you can't do that, I think it's just you're better off just making a new one. And maybe if you're creative enough, trimming down what's left of the old prop into making something new, recycling it that way, or things of that nature. But generally speaking, what I do is I personally don't bother with unless it's small maintenance things. Like some of my older props, the glue wears out a little bit, so I replace the glue or maybe the occasional piece of it, something like that. But I don't really fight a whole lot of people with my props these days. So I'm trying to think of back when I did made props for my school's drama club, in which they did use them to fight and stuff like that. How did I replace those? Typically, it just comes to a matter of practice, really. The better you are at making your props, the better you understand what went into making them, and therefore the better you get at making augmentations and or replacements to them. It's not there's not really a one-size-fits-all strategy for prop fixing, at least with this portion of the hobby. It's also the reason why you're trying to get why you're trying to get a new shield. Get a shield. Yeah, that makes sense. Alucard. Ah, the Crimson, the Nightwalker. Good to see you. Welcome to the stream. Luke's the Goat first says, tips for cutting cardboard, we'll come back to that. Alucard says, how do I make my project look smoother? I'm the wrong person to ask that. I don't care about how smooth my projects look, frankly. I think it's enough that they fit together. But if I had to give some advice regarding that, pay attention to the direction that your corrugation is in. Like, if you look at this piece naturally bends this way. So it's anything that's designed to bend in that direction is good and easier to bend that way. If you want to try and bend it the opposite way, it looks a lot messier and stuff like that. So I personally don't see an issue with this. I think since it's cardboard and it's cardboard, it looks good no matter how you go about it. But if that is your concern, if smoothness is a concern, I would say either paying more attention to your corrugation or try using a material like foam, which that just isn't much of an issue for. But I assume if you're boxsmithing, it's probably because foam isn't as easily accessible and stuff like that. But if that's the case, then I would venture to say leave the cardboard itself alone and try to compensate with how you paint it. Because painting can make up for a lot of mistakes, stuff like that, especially if you use like Mod Podge and things like that to fill and seal all those little cracks and things of that nature. That can really get you a long way and far. Obviously, I don't do that often myself because, again, I prefer the raw cardboard look, but those are the ways that you go about doing it. I would strongly recommend, there's a channel, RDJ, I believe he's called, RDJ Productions. He makes things like Star Wars helmets and stuff like that out of cardboard, and he's especially good at making it look as if, well, it's not made of cardboard, as if it's like a foam prop, something like that. His skill with painting and refining and all of that aspects of the process are frankly impressive. Very, very impressive, and far better than what I even attempt to do. So I'd say go look at his stuff if you're looking for a guide on how to make cardboard look smoother and things of that nature. I'm more trying to teach you guys the universal basic stuff. If you want to get nitty-gritty specific and to other sub-disciplines like painting and doing things of that nature, I recommend looking at other creators. I'm here to get you off the ground, primarily. I give you your templates, I give you your general information, Stuff past that, I suggest you learn or look for other teachers. Thank you for trying to buy foam. Also, I'd like to see you build my dual pistols. Ah, I would love to do that. It'd be my honor, Lord Alucard, to make your dual pistols. Colin says, Boxer, stand ready for my arrival. I'm building something that rivals your power. Oh, well, you are welcome to try. I welcome a challenge always. I hope that your project goes well as you're building it. Alrighty, that goes there, and that goes around here. Oh, right. I probably shouldn't have bent that piece because I kind of need it, but whatever. We ball, and all of that. Heck it, we ball, heck it, we ball. Okay, that's how was Project Arthur? Project Arthur was great. I ended up getting a sponsor for it in the form of Amazon, so he ended up coming together a lot sooner than expected and things like that. Ever since he was given sentience, he's more or less been my guy behind the scenes. He helps me with the maintenance stuff. He's like the Mike Ehrmantraut to my Gus Fring. Love that guy. Arthur's great. Oops, forgot to put a spine in that portion. I forgot that was something I wanted to do. So let's go ahead and fix that real quick. Oh dear, that goes further in, like so. Just like you, go further in. Yeah, my shield has seen many battles. It is really weakened to the point where it's floppy and it's wet, like it's wet. Ah, give it a better spine. In version 2, give it a stronger spine that encompasses more of the inside. I recommend using wooden dowels or PVC pipe as a medium. That'll get you pretty far with that. There we go. Sentinel armor based off of Doom. Ooh, that's very cool. Oh, you're talking about that's not Arthur. That's a different armor. That's the standard issue. That's the standard issue armor, Boxsmith armor that I'm working on. And yes, they are based off of the Night Sentinels from Doom. Did I call that one Arthur as well? I'm trying to remember. I don't. If I did, I didn't mean to. Arthur is his own entity. Thank you. I'll try to get some rulers at school or Walmart. Ah, good idea. Use wooden rulers, though. Metal rulers don't stick to hot glue. I know this from experience. Wooden rulers are the way to go for this kind of thing. But yeah, Walmart's great for everything a boxer needs except for cardboard, ironically enough. I love Walmart for other things and products that it has. Cardboard is not one of them. Real Diego Brando says, "Love your TikTok. It's helping me out. It's helping me of making my own maku." The word's hard to pronounce, but I know the weapon you're talking about. It's the Aztec one, right? The one that looks like the one that is usually made of obsidian, has like things inside of it. I think Kotal Khan uses one in Mortal Kombat 11. I know what weapon you're talking about, but yeah, okay, cool. That's really cool. I hope it goes well. Feel free to join the Discord. We do community creation showcase every now and then. You can show it off there. That'd be awesome. So yeah. J. Marso asks, "Can I make the Hong Piao cannon?" I almost certainly butchered that pronunciation, but if I learn what that is, I assume it's probably from like a Huyo game or something like that. If not, probably from a piece of like actual Chinese history or something like that. I don't know. They did make gunpowder, so maybe that is an actual weapon that they used around that time. But yeah, probably. We'll have to see how it is. Let me look that up real quick. Hong Yi Piao cannon. Hong Yi. Red Barbarian cannon. Vietnamese. Ah. Oh, it's a Vietnamese infantry cannon. Fascinating. Fascinating. Very fascinating. Yeah, well, my Vietnamese is just as bad, if not worse, than my Chinese, which is also not great. So, sorry if I botched that pronunciation, but that looks really cool. Yeah, maybe one of these days I'll make one of those. That sounds neat. Alrighty. But back to the task at hand. We're working on this cleaver here. We've got the pieces. And I'm going to alternate it on the opposite side. So one side is the patchwork pieces and the other side is the solid pieces. So we're going to take these off first and then use the other one for the opposite side. Yay. Just to generally increase the overall stability of the prop, which is the ultimate goal. Can't wait to see more videos. More videos will come, Kane Frankensis. Thank you for being a fan. Is my one the only one who isn't working like nothing is working? What do you mean, Denji Chainsaw Man? What do you mean? Tell the Master Boxsmith of your issue. What's troubling you? Yeah, we're gonna cover up all of that mess by just putting this layer on top of it here. Make sure that's all smooth and stuff. Kane says make it working on a hammer right now. Lucas says check out TikTok channels where his armor is. Cool, cool. I'll give it a check out. Marcio followed. Thanks for the follow. Alrighty, so we're gonna just take that. I'm gonna apply glue to it. That's gonna be good. Just gonna take that and just put it on there. Get her done, as Tomater would say. There. Let's press it down like so, so it all fits in together. And things of that nature. You helped me make my first samurai sword. Thanks, bro. Hey, no problem. You're welcome. Samurai swords, katanas are very fun to make out of cardboard. They used to very much, it used to be very difficult for me to make, but ever since I figured it out, I've had a much better time with them, and then I made the template for it, so a few templates for it. I made the Yamato, I made Zoro's swords. I think I still need to post the third of Zoro's swords on the Ko-Fi. Of course, more information related to that and other things in the Discord, link in the bio, but, yeah. Yeah, katanas, very fun to make. Just very fun weapons in general. I have, oof, is that my nail or is that hot glue? That's hot glue. Alright, but my nail's probably coming off too, so I'll probably have to file and clip them later. Nothing wrong with the man taking care of his body. It's not called being a pussy, it's called dandyism. Look it up. Goodness, I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, I should get a manicure one of these days. I think it'd do me good. Did I forget to put holes in this, or is that the next one? That's the next one. I didn't even cut that out yet. Okay. Plus, I'm one of the medieval community that likes both regular infantrymen and knights. Ah, cool. Kane asks, what is my favorite thing to make? Good question, good question. Katanas are certainly up there, since we're on the topic of them. What else do I like to make frequently? Hammers are fun. They're a bit complicated, but they are fun when you can actually make them. Swords of all kinds. One of the most fun ones that I made in a while was probably either... I like big swords. Big swords like Dante's Rebellion from Devil May Cry and the Crucible from Doom. The favorite thing I've made recently, speaking of Doom, was the saw shield that I made a while back ago. You know, it's funny. My props are up on Etsy. It's a nice way for you to be able to support what I do financially. I'll have a link to it somewhere around somewhere. But I got a cease and desist from Bethesda for my Crucible template on Etsy. Not a true cease and desist, but my product was flagged by them and said, this can't be. You can't have this on here. And I was like, damn, that's okay. Fine, whatever. I feel like maybe it's because I used the name Crucible Sword, so that's probably why they flagged me. I called it the Crucible from Doom template. Mind you, template. It is the template of making it is my original creation, even though the IP is an established one and not my own. The thing that I made from it is my own, so I don't understand. I don't understand I barely understand copyright laws of any kind. Ouch! Got a little bit on my finger there. Ooh, that burns. But it's just one. It's just one template, and I'm a little tilted about it, frankly. But I have bigger fish to fry, and I have other ways of making money. But yeah, Bethesda, fun games. When they lock in, shady business practices more frequently than not. I have a love-hate relationship with them. They gave me the Doom games, but they also screwed over Mick Gordon in the process of the Doom games. Skyrim, need I say more, on both the good and bad sides. But yeah, Bethesda, love-hate relationship with Bethesda and their parent and or child companies. But yeah, that's my little corporate bone to pick. But we're about done with this part here. Can you make the weapon from Bloodborne or Shy's weapon from Hi-Fi Rush? Ah, the guitar or any of the trick weapons. Yeah, I know ball. But I've actually made the saw cleaver, and it actually transforms too. It's currently chilling on my wall. There's a video of it somewhere on the channel if you're interested in that. But Shy's guitar from Hi-Fi Rush, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I'd probably make that one of these days. Alrighty, so we're looking at the general shape of the cleaver being pretty much done here so far. So now the last thing we need to worry about is the detailing. But that's, if you wanted to just make like a cleaver of sorts out of cardboard, then you're pretty much done here. But we're making Nanami's cleaver specifically, so we still got another few steps. But first, let me just reinforce that little bond there so that sticks properly. I kind of like the mixture of both polished cardboard and fractured cardboard from the templates. It reminds me of the practice of kintsugi, which is a Japanese art form of taking broken and otherwise damaged pottery and glassware like cups and bowls and stuff, and instead of discarding them, putting them back together piece by piece with a special... That was my dog shaking behind me. With a special glue that's gold in hue and really stands out to try and which demonstrates the basically the message that scars are beautiful and that things that don't destroy us make us stronger or something like that. And I think that's really beautiful. And the little lines that I see of the cardboard that's part of the piece-made portions and not the entirely smooth portions reminds me of that, and I think that's really cool. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and finish up with the last little bit of this. Parts A and B. I'm going to cut these out real quick, since I'm thinking about it. Yes, Dogo. Not sure if you could hear her sniff in the background. She's been chilling in the room with me this entire time, just being sweet and adorable. Kane says, name the Crucible Red Badass Glowy Stick instead of the Crucible. Maybe I'll do that. That's funny. But yeah. Alrighty then. That looks decent enough. Good enough. Let's get to cutting. If you do make the Pavis shield, can you make the template free because I have no money? Yes, I can. Yes, I can do that. It's always a weird balance of wanting to serve the community, but also kind of needing money to survive and stuff. So I initially opted so that all my templates are free at all times forever, and I try to be a man of my word. I still want that to be the case to some extent, but I can't make templates for people if I've starved to death. So I may or may not need to, at least for now, until YouTube monetization carries my channel, or even then, because ideally I wouldn't want ads constantly running either, because YouTube is very annoying with ads these days. Until I am otherwise completely into, until the day money is no longer an issue for me, I think the new and more optimal strategy for templates would be they're free for a week. And if you miss the week that they were free, then don't worry about it. There will be runbacks based on how popular they were periodically, almost like almost like an item shop kind of situation. And maybe some mainstays that are free at all times, so that no matter where and when, you can always box or stuff like that. But that's one of the goals for the year, is finding that balance between making the money to sustain myself and the business, but also keeping the templates as accessible to everybody as possible. So that's 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 one of the little things that I'm thinking about behind the scenes. Kane says, I'm going to make a cardboard dedicated account right now. Yo, go for it. Also, Atlas, thank you for the follow. So we're about done with this portion here. We're going to get that so that it's about right there. And where's that other piece that there you are. Yeah, that's going to go about right there. Do I want it so that it's all the way at the bottom, or do I want it so that it's... Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, we'll go with that then. Alright, now that we don't have to worry about spines anymore, since that's already inside of it, we can just focus on the gluing, which is significantly easier of a process. Just going to take that, put it right there in the center. There are many different variants of the design of Nanami's Cleaver, but I like the one that incorporates the fact that kitchenware-like cleavers, which obviously the weapon is based off of, have these little holes where everything is held together in. So I used that design as my reference and incorporated that into making the final product, so. Ouch! Bugger! Fuck! God damn! Forgive me, I just, ow. You know what? This right here is a great time to teach you all his Boxsmith first aid. I have just pricked my finger here by mistake. Now, here's what you do for Boxsmith first aid. First of all, if you're wearing any cardboard art or anything like that, you're going to want to take it off. Just makes things more sterile and stuff like that. You don't want dust and everything on you. Now, let's go get some supplies. I'll be right back. Here we go. This right here is a Boxsmith first aid kit. It's designed for all of the injuries that you're generally going to receive as a Boxsmith. Now, this is ultimately a mild pricking of my finger. You can barely even see it from the camera angle, but no, it is definitely there. I definitely pricked myself enough to draw a little bit of blood. But in case you prick yourself, burn yourself, or accidentally cut yourself more severely, these are the general tools that you want to take care of yourself. We've got bandages, we've got wound cleaner, we've got aloe vera, and in case something serious happens, you've got gauze. You will rarely ever... I have yet to see an instance where gauze becomes necessary for a Boxsmith-related wound, but in case that does somehow happen, you know, freak accidents happen all the time, it's there. And of course, you know, sanitizer in case you need some. That. Oh yeah, we also have Neosporin here, which we're going to use. This is soap and stuff. I've apparently been using this box to store other things. But it's also a good idea to keep in mind, whatever prop you're working on, probably best to just throw that out. It's just kind of unsanitary to box with the props that you've literally bled onto. So this piece is going in the trash. We're not using that anymore. We're gonna try again with a different piece. Now, for the wound. For this, something like that, our first step would be to wash our hands. So I'm going to do that really quickly. If washing your hands isn't immediately an option, I suggest either hand sanitizer or some form of antiseptic liquid. But because I have the ability to wash my hands, since my sink is just right over there, I'm just going to do that. So give me 1 second to wash my hands. Okay, now that I've washed my hands, you can't even see the wound anymore. It's primarily because of the camera quality, which is kind of neat. I wouldn't want to show you something especially grievous on stream or something like that. But it definitely hurts, and definitely itches. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Neosporin here, which is pain relief ointment. It also works as a mild disinfectant, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, antibiotic. We're just going to dab a little bit of that onto here. Alternatives, if you don't have Neosporin, include coconut oil and maybe aloe vera, but definitely coconut oil. That's what Mom used for me back in the day when I was a wee little bag of bones. Just a young homunculus. But yeah, Neosporin keeps numbs the pain and keeps it so that you don't get infected and things like that. Of course, obviously, with a bigger cut or gash, something like that, you wouldn't want to use Neosporin immediately like that. Maybe you would, just like a dab, but if you're like actively bleeding from your fingers, stuff like that, I'm not sure rubbing Neosporin is going to be your biggest concern. If that's the case, what your biggest concern should be is applying pressure to the wound and keeping it elevated. Ideally, I once cut myself on the thumb knuckle when I was boxing the thing many years ago. And what I learned from that happening, you can't even see the scar anymore. If you have a wound on your finger that's like actively bleeding and stuff, you want to keep it elevated and you want pressure applied to it. So keep pressure applied to it with your fingers, bandages of various kinds. That's what these guys are good for. Things of that nature. Keep a pressure applied to the wound and keep it elevated. You want to have your finger above from where your head is. That's generally just a good rule of thumb. Pun not intended. But this is a small prick. It's mostly what I'm doing here is overkill, but it's good practice and good things to know how to do in general. So now that the Neosporin has been rubbed in sufficiently, last step of this phase is just grab myself a simple bandage and put that puppy on there. Focus the location of the wound and apply bandage accordingly. Voila. Because of the Neosporin, this bandage is probably not going to last too long on my finger, but it is going. I can always wash and replace the bandage, and that is how you take care of a basic wound as a boxsmith. To recap, for small pricks like this, you want to wash your hands immediately, because that's the most sanitary thing to do. Remove any cardboard armaments you may be holding onto your body or something like that. Whatever cardboard you may or may not have bled onto, you're going to want to discard that. It's just unsanitary to keep that around. Small pricks like this, Neosporin and bandage. Larger scrapes or cuts that are actively bleeding, apply pressure, raise above your head, raise your arm above your shoulders, and seek medical care from like an urgent care facility, something like that. I would recommend just handling that on your own. But gauze is really good to wrap your finger if it's like bleeding and stuff like that, and just keep that pressure onto it. Unless you have like blood-related conditions or stuff like that that allow you to not clot, you're not going to bleed out from your finger if you get cut as a boxsmith, something like that. But ideally, you want all of your red juice inside of your body at all times, so it's just a good rule of thumb to do that. Also, make sure you're up to on tetanus shots, because that is a very real disease and stuff like that, and I don't want any of you to get that. So, we're going to put this first aid kit down to the side. I'll go put it back in my, my bathroom later. But, yeah. The things I want you to take away from this: staying calm, staying sanitary, and, staying calm and staying sanitary, and in the event of something that's worse than a small prick like this, getting help as soon as possible and applying pressure to the wound. Those are 3 things I want you to take away from that. But now that we're done with that, let's get back to crafting here. So these are the pieces that we needed. So we're going to make another duplicate of them. Oh, no, it's this piece that I needed. That's what I need to duplicate. So, now that we're done with that little safety briefing, let's go resume what we were doing. Oh, forgot. Here's Lucas's... Meanwhile, Bane, I need a medical assistant. I need a medic bag. I love Payday 2. Really fun game. Alright, so, as we were saying, we're now back to work here. Get that in tip-top, chip-chop shape. Like so. Alright, so that's going to go there and on the other side as well. Going to take the glue gun. We're going to go ahead and apply the glue from the glue gun to the cardboard. Yeah. And do the same thing on the other side. I'm trying to figure out if it'd be more efficient to do it one at a time, front side and back side, or several at a time, front side, back side. Let's start with this one, one at a time, front side, back side, and then we can move on to everything else. Small challenge that might occur is trying to line things up perfectly. It's easier with ones like this, which have the benefit of the geometry being the same on either side, so it's pretty easy to get everything lined up properly, at least in theory. But the other pieces, you may have to like look down the top to make sure you get that done easier or not. So yeah. Nerd says, "Yo, hey." Miss Lucas says, "Bonnie, I'm definitely not the man behind the slaughter." Listen, if you're the man behind the slaughter, I can offer you no protection as the locksmith. That's you're on your own with that one, big dog. Speaking of, has anyone here seen the new FNAF movie? Because I have, and while it was not a good movie, it was definitely a very fun movie. And to that point, I say it's still worth the experience. So, yeah, I enjoyed it tremendously. But then again, you see, I have the capability of having good taste in media. I just deliberately choose not to. Partially because I see some value in most everything that I watch, but partially because it's just funnier, honestly. I like rage baiting my friends who can't turn their brains off and enjoy themselves, because I used to be like that, but then I partially gave up and partially got anxiety meds, which helped and stuff. That's a story for another day. That's a story probably for my therapist to fully understand why I'm like that. But that's not. That's above everyone. That's above the pay grade of everyone involved here. So we're not think about that too hard today. Let's just chop that properly. Like so. That's the next piece. Over here. Cardboard arm. Yes, thank you for noticing. I'm quite proud of it. Ms. Lucas says, "I feel like the only one person that likes every media and not just the sus one." Yeah. Okay. Cool. I hope that you find people who also enjoy media and the sus one as well. You know, every media has a dark side. Yeah, sure. Let's get that out of there and not poke myself this time. Frankly, I should be using pliers for this, but I just find it easier to do with my hands, and that's like the first time out of any time I've done this that I've accidentally pricked myself like that, so just better to just stay focused, frankly. Don't underestimate sharp objects. They will catch you lacking every time. Give them the respect they deserve, and they'll never bite you. Fail to do that, and you will suffer the consequences, as you've seen. Which way did I have that? Was it facing up or down? Who cares? It's all the same stuff anyway. Yes, TikTok, I am still live. Don't end my stream prematurely. Thank you very much. This looks as though I don't like the sus one. Ah, yeah, fair enough. Regardless, my sentiment stays the same. I hope you find other people who share your views on media and stuff. It's always nice. Like so. You know, it's funny. I actually put my dad onto Jujutsu Kaisen recently. I'm not sure what episode he's on right now, but I told him about it initially, and he's pretty interested in what he's seen, so that's kind of cool. Might be a show we can talk about and stuff like that. Very blessed to have a solid relationship with both of my parents. I'm like that. I'm the one guy in a lot of my friend groups. I'm the one guy who goes, "I'm not effing love my dad. My dad's effing awesome." But yeah. My parents, that's a conversation for another day. Another stream, maybe. In the meantime, we've got this. And we're done with that. So now we take all those pieces. We're going to take this to start and just throw it away here. Love the plans you built, especially the 18C Hornets. Oh, Air Force Alex. Oh, okay, you're talking about that guy. Oh, yes, that sounds cool. That's, oh, the planes. Planes, Air Force Alex. Oh, are you the guy who asked me if I could make a papier-mâché plane last stream? If so, welcome back. Cool. Good to see you again. If not, still, welcome to the stream. Good to see you. Discarding some cardboard stuff. Alright, let's get back to work. Let's get back to the point. You know what? Let me grab my pliers. I've had enough of this. I'm getting me mallet. Where are my pliers? My adventurers, I cannot find my pliers. We're going back to using it by our hands. Okay. F it, we ball, strong aura, F it, we ball. Alright, so I'm just going to go about doing it one at a time like this, frankly. I just find that easier. It's the one downside of plier staplers is ripping out pliers is not always easy. Sometimes they get a bit stuck. But, you know, it's worth it for the amount of the job that they make things easier. Low-key, this is my chilling place because I'm kind of tired of that one kid at school who's always angry. Ah, well, if this is your chilling place, then that means I'm doing my job correctly. That is ultimately what I set out to do when I started streaming again, so... It does my soul good to hear that this is a place that you feel chill to go to. Chat with the Boxsmith, some cardboard art. It's a vibe. That's the ultimate goal. So, glad that's happening for people. But yeah, there's always that one kid that's angry and or makes you angry. Like my guy over here, angry they threaten teachers. Gracious. Well, I hope nothing serious comes out of that. But, yeah. I was in school once, too. I know how it is. I have long since given up on the American education system. Frankly, I think anyone with an ounce of neurodivergence in them has as well. You learn very quickly that the system is not designed for you. And it's either figure it out yourself or perish, I guess. I was fortunate enough to figure it out myself in quotations. I had resources and parents who were able to help me and stuff like that and largely make up for the lacking things in my earlier school years. But not everyone is so fortunate, and That's not good. But hey, that's just the way it is. There's enough. There's not nearly enough. There's not nearly enough good teachers and educators, stuff like that out there. But the ones who are, and the ones who are making that kind of difference, they're invaluable. There are few things. There are few things more valuable in this world, I believe, than a good teacher. I've had the pleasure of having a few really good teachers, and they've more than made up for the large amount of mediocre to genuinely bad teachers. Excuse me, teachers that I've also had. So that is what I've got to say on the matter. There's good within bad, and bad within good. It's all complicated and all of that stuff. Mr. Lucas said, "My guy, the American education system is easy, bro." Depends on who you ask, and various other factors. But compared to other countries, perhaps it is. Maybe it's more than just the American school system. It might just be the modern school system in general. Oh, darn it. How did I have this arranged? It was probably like that. Yeah, probably like that. But yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Started with my dog. My hot glue gun fell off my table. Hit the saw we were using earlier. Nothing to worry about. Boxbender, welcome on my new account. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome back. We're just about done here. We're starting to wrap up and stuff. Alrighty. So, I know for a fact what I want the top and bottom ones to be like. Everything else we can just kind of shimmy around with in the middle. Gonna place that down like so. Do a little squint, make a little love, get down tonight. Smiling Friends is great. I love that show so much. Nice that show's made by like YouTubers and other creatives are on the rise, I think. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. I wish to one day join such ranks. I think that'd be pretty neat as well. Though I kind of like the freedom that the indie sphere provides, not shackled to like proper and established corporations and things like that. So yeah, there's money and stability, but there's also restrictions on freedoms and stuff like that, which is sometimes worth it. But I've heard enough horror stories from folks who've worked in the proper industries and stuff like that. Cough, cough, Dana Terrace, cough, cough, Disney, cough, cough. To be like, yeah, if I can help, it's probably not for me. It's probably better to go for the indie sphere or work with corporations under very strict parameters. We'll see how it is. The life's still young. Those are my staples back there. My backups. I bought a bunch of them since they were cheap on Amazon. Makes me wonder why I didn't go ahead and do that before. Eh, well, you live and you learn and all of that. Hanging on the edge of tomorrow. All the dreams of yesterday. Oh, it's Kane. Ah, okay. Nice to see you, Kane. Good stuff. Welcome back to the stream. We're just about done here. I'm going to put down the final little bits sooner or later. My box could have gave me tetanus. Oh no, that's awful. Hope you're feeling better. Make sure to get your tetanus vaccine if you're able to, kids. It's important. Alright, just gonna hold all of those down so that the glue gets nice and dry. Now just start with the other one. Lola was a while ago. Ah, well, still, it stucks. Mr. Lucas says, by the way, cardboard blacksmith, I'm probably going to need it on April or May. Cool, I'll keep that in mind. We've got a, February's, with the schedule that I've got, unless something comes up, February's kind of a free month for the stuff I have scheduled to build this year. So it'll probably be in February that I do that, among other miscellaneous projects. There's not really a theme or agenda for February like there is for other months. This month, of course, being JJK. Now we've got another few projects to work for that. This should be about dry now. Yep, that's dry. It's pretty good. So now just do the other side. So I get everything flipped here, because you mirror stuff on the other side. Mirror. I told you we needed more glitter. The things that get stuck in your head when you're on the internet long enough. Is that good? Is that correct in all of that nature? Close enough. Whatever. Alright, let's get to work. There we go. Because I'm going to Muskogee Ren Fair in Oklahoma. Oh, interesting. Colin says, this is heat, Nanami is the goat. That he is, that he is. Rolling Deep D&D followed. Ah, thank you for the follow. Blacksmith says, I have artist block for cardboard, any ideas of what to make? Ah, real, I've been there. Ideas. Try something from a game you're playing right now. Doesn't have to be anything too particularly complicated. And then again, sometimes you just need to take a break. That's what I feel is the real cure to artist block, is that you can't rush art. The guy from Toy Story 2 said that, and those are words that I live by. You see, what's interesting with how I operate things of that nature is that Boxsmith, while it is art, is something I do primarily these days, at least, occupationally. And that's an important distinction, because you don't really get art block like that when you're doing a job. You get art block when you're doing things you're genuinely passionate about. And something that I realized about 2 years into being the Boxsmith is that if I'm going to do this as like a job or so, I have to sacrifice doing this as an artistic passion. And if that was a sacrifice that I was willing to make, then that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, but that's not something I initially considered when I first started being the Boxsmith. Now, the thing is, sacrificing this as an artistic passion for me does not necessarily mean entirely sacrificing artistic passion in my life. I have found other mediums of art and expression that I do in my free time, that I do purely for the love of the game, that I do purely for art and the enjoyment of it, with no real intent on making any form of like professional career out of it. And having that balance of something that's still an outlet for me to be creative and artistically passionate with, even if it isn't necessarily boxsmithing for me anymore, that is what allows me to be both an effective and happy artist and art-related businessman and content creator. Making these making these JJK projects may not necessarily be my favorite quote unquote project that I wanted to make right now per se, and it's primarily because, frankly, it's because JJK is popular and it's back, and I like JJK. Which there are aspects of it that's true. I do still like JJK and things like that, and I do like making things like this. But a year ago or so, or several years ago, I'd probably be trying to make something more ambitious or more intricate and sophisticated, or something along those lines, if not just for the likelihood of bigger views, then just simply to test myself and my artistic ability, which I still think there is value in. But I've reached a point in my skill level with being the Boxsmith that this is about as skilled as I really need to be in order to complete my real objective with all of this, which is, making the barrier of cosplay as low as possible by making it so it's easy for people to get into this hobby through being a Boxsmith. That is truly my ultimate goal with all of this. That and making heaps of money, but that's kind of secondary. Heaps of money doing something that I genuinely love doing, because traditional 9 to 5 appointment, I'd rather I'd rather not talk about doing that. But exactly, dog. You just shucked in the background. Having introducing something to my life that I found that is something I do purely for art and the love of the game enables me so that I'm able to do Boxsmith less so for art and more so for business, but not completely lose my artistic edge and vision with it, which I think has become the most optimal strategy of all for me, which I'm very happy about, frankly. Allows me to serve the community and allows me to stay happy and sane as an artist and content creator at the same time. So at the end of the day, everyone wins. So that's my little bit of Bucksmith insight for you this evening. I hope that was helpful to an extent. Which direction should this be facing? This direction. Okay, cool. Probably gonna rip off those stickers. It's a bit unsightly to me. But maybe I'll keep them. It does add a nice little pop in the element of the fact that it is cardboard and stuff like that. But it's similar to how I was surprised to learn years ago that Markiplier doesn't really play a lot of video games in his free time. He's actually really a big fan of board games and stuff like that, which at the time seemed crazy to me. But now that I've since become a content creator myself, I completely get it now. I get it entirely. You need something that you do purely for fun. If your job is something if your job is an activity that people typically do recreationally, you no longer really do that You no longer really do that activity recreationally. You can and still get enjoyment out of it, but it's not the same anymore. It's not the same as it was or it is if you do it purely recreationally, because now there's other factors and stakes and things considered involved in it, like, it's how you pay your bills, it's how you build your livelihood, it's how you stay out of a 9 to 5, because screw 9 to 5s. God bless the people who do 9 to 5s. I'm not saying screw the actual work that's done, I'm saying screw the structure of it, because my neurodivergent ass would die if I had to do that, so this is kind of my only option. But I digress. Well, the point I'm trying to make is, it makes perfect sense that if your career is based on something that people typically do for fun, you no longer really do that activity for fun anymore, and you need other activities that you do in your life for fun, so that you're still able to do the job thing that's typically people do for fun for a job. Anyways, that being said, we're about done here with the cleaver. Just doing a little trimming here so that it looks nicer and everything like that, just more even and everything, like the final stages of a haircut and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Markiplier, lovely YouTuber. I'd love to meet him one of these days. One of the inspirations for what I do and how I operate as a content creator myself. All right, and with that, we have Nanami's Cleaver. Let's answer a few more questions. Bossbender says, I'll try to make that something similar to that cleaver. Hey, go for it. I'll have the template for it up sooner than later, so you can do that and either use this stream, because it'll be up on YouTube eventually too, or whatever version of the stream I have that's been edited down so that it's easier to follow for a tutorial, less rambling and impromptu safety lectures. That'll be up within sometime later this month, ideally by the end of the week. Other questions to answer before we leave out for the day. I have the hot glue gun too, says Belle. Hey, hot glue gun twin. Nice. Let's see here. Another question, can you draw good, like paper drawing? I'm okay at paper drawing. I could probably be a lot better if I actually like locked in and practice. I just have no desire to do so. The greatest extent I do of like paper drawing is drawing blueprint, the early stages of these blueprints and schematics for when I make stuff out of cardboard. That's what I enjoy doing. I don't like doodle and draw much at all. I have a great friend of mine. She does doodle and draw stuff. She's really good at it. Shout out Vanta Black Draws on Tumblr. Check her stuff out. She does a lot of really cool drawing stuff like that. We went to high school together. One of my bestest of friends. But I don't draw. I prefer more practical stuff like this. Practical in the sense that I like making things that I can physically hold like this and things like that, and just do stuff like that. So that's more my cup of tea. Or if you can make TikTok 12FST says, or you can make the Sword if Judgment from Transformers: Age of Extinction. Love Transformers movies. I would yo, who said smash? Get out. You can make the or you can make the Sword of Judgment from Transformers: Age of Extinction. I am a big fan of the Transformers movies. They're not good movies, but they are fun movies, and I grew up on them. I would absolutely make that sword. That's Optimus' sword from Age of Extinction, I'm pretty sure. Recognize one of your knights, type stuff. Sir Box, can you draw? No, I cannot. Mostly by choice. Jeb, I've been following since 2013, says 42 Cave. Hey, thank you. Thank you for being a fan. Thank you for following since 2013. Goodness, I was not making content in 2013. Thank you for following since 2023. Here's to a great 2025 of boxsmithing. So, to summarize, this is Nanami's Cleaver. We've made it out of cardboard. It looks fantastic. It looks pretty good. Look at all of that. Yeah, the tablet will be up sooner or later. It will be for free, at the bare minimum. It will be for free. Yeah, I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Drink lots of water and happy crafting. I'll see y'all the next one. Jeb out.